As the country tries to move forward after Charlie Kirk's murder, President Trump was asked this morning about what he's doing to help unite the country.
How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
The president's message today in stark contrast to what he said yesterday when he called Kirk an advocate of nonviolence.
How do you want your supporters to respond, sir?
I think that way. He was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see people respond.
It's also in contrast to what Utah Governor Spencer Cox is saying today, calling Charlie's death a watershed moment and in a very emotional tone, spoke directly to the young people of his state, saying violence is never the answer.
We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make.
White House correspondent Karen Travers joins me now. So, Karen, Trump has been consistently blaming the radical left for Kirk's murder. What's he saying now?
Yeah, the president, even that night after it was announced that Charlie Kirk had died, the president put out a long video that he recorded in the Oval Office, Kira. And in that video, he blamed what he called the radical left for stoking and committing violence, political violence in this country. And he went through a list of examples of violence that have happened in recent years. And it was notable, Kira, to hear him omit things that have happened to Democrats, including the shooting of a Minnesota state representative earlier this year, the arson attack at Governor Josh Shapiro and Pennsylvania's residence, and even going back years ago to the attack on former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband Paul Pelosi at their home in San Francisco. But it's a message we heard again from the president today during that interview with Fox News. And Kira, we're also hearing it from both of his sons, Don Jr. and Eric Trump, who said that the violence only goes one way, and that is just not the reality of what this country has been facing over the last couple of years.
How else has Trump been reacting to Kirk's death?
Kira, he called for a quick trial in the case of this suspect. He was talking, of course, before the suspect was identified, before we got all those details from law enforcement and the governor of Utah. He also said he would like to see the death penalty for the shooter in this situation. But, you mentioned at the top there about the president yesterday talking about nonviolence and that that's what Charlie Kirk stood for. He also said today that people should get their revenge, his supporters, at the ballot box, that that's the best way to make your political message heard by expressing it through voting, not through something else.